They said the night sky over Isfahan looked like it was tearing itself apart. At first, people thought it was an earthquake. Then the flashes came. Precision missiles screamed down from the heavens, slamming into one of Iran's most heavily guarded nuclear sites. In that instant, the world realized something extraordinary. The shadow war between Iran, Israel, and the United States had just turned into a storm that might reshape the Middle East forever. But what really happened that night? Was it a strategic masterstroke to halt Iran's nuclear ambitions, or the first spark of a wider war that could consume the entire region? Let's pull back the curtain. For decades, Iran's nuclear program has been both a symbol of pride and a source of fear. Officially, Tehran insists it's for peaceful energy. Unofficially, the world isn't buying it. Western intelligence claims Iran is just inches away from mastering weapons-grade enrichment at Natanz and Fordow, two facilities buried so deep that even bunker-busting bombs struggle to reach them. The United States has warned, sanctioned, and threatened for years, while Israel, the country that feels Iran's missiles could reach it in minutes, has taken matters into its own hands. And this time, Israel didn't send spies or computer viruses like Stuxnet. It sent warplanes. Silent, precise, devastating. The strike left Iran's underground centrifuges in ruins and its scientists scrambling for answers. But Iran didn't stay silent for long. Within hours, Iranian drones swarmed U.S. positions in Iraq and Syria while missiles rained down near the Golan Heights. It wasn't just retaliation, it was a message. We can hit back, and we will. But here's the twist. Washington isn't claiming responsibility. The Pentagon says it wasn't involved directly, yet U.S. satellites and refueling aircraft were reportedly seen supporting Israeli jets mid-air. Coincidence? Unlikely. Behind closed doors, American officials are walking a tightrope, publicly calling for restraint, privately nodding in approval. The Biden administration, or what remains of it under a fractured Congress, is facing enormous pressure to keep Israel armed while avoiding another Middle East quagmire. But as we've seen in history, wars rarely listen to politicians. When a bomb hits a nuclear site, it's not just metal and concrete that explodes. It's the illusion of control. And somewhere in the chaos, a question hangs in the air. What happens when Iran decides to cross the line completely? Before we get there, think about this. Every modern war starts with a miscalculation. Someone fires one missile too many. Someone misreads radar data. Someone underestimates the other side's resolve. If this conflict spirals, it won't just be Iran or Israel that pays the price. It'll be oil markets, global economies, and maybe even the next generation of American soldiers deployed overseas. Funny how humanity keeps saying never again, but history seems to hit replay every decade. But stay with me, because in part 2, we'll dive into Iran's furious response, the threats pouring out of Tehran, and how the United States is preparing for a showdown it claims it doesn't want, but might not be able to avoid.
By dawn, Tehran's streets were electric with fury and fear. State TV called it an act of war. Iranian generals vowed that Tel Aviv and Haifa will burn, while U.S. intelligence quietly braced for cyber attacks and oil tanker sabotage. The world's most dangerous triangle, Iran, Israel, and America, was now in motion, each convinced the other had gone too far to back down. Inside the Iranian parliament, hardliners were pounding their fists, urging Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei to authorize the final stage, a step that could mean enriching uranium beyond 90%, the threshold for nuclear weapons. Washington's response? A calm smile on the outside, military readiness on the inside. The Pentagon moved carrier strike groups into the Persian Gulf and reactivated missile shields in Bahrain, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And in a move that startled even seasoned observers, U.S. forces began quietly evacuating diplomatic staff from Baghdad, just in case Tehran's proxies got too bold. But here's the thing. Every power move has a hidden story. Iran's leadership knows that a full war would devastate its economy and risk total regime collapse. Yet politically, doing nothing is worse. The Iranian people, struggling under decades of sanctions and inflation, see these attacks as an insult to national pride. So the government turns to a familiar playbook: rally the nation against a common enemy. Suddenly, propaganda floods the airwaves, heroic images of soldiers, fiery speeches about Western hypocrisy, and promises of revenge. Fear becomes fuel. Meanwhile, Israel's prime minister goes live declaring the strike a necessary act of self-defense and warning that the world cannot allow a nuclear Iran. Even as explosions echo in the distance, the global community splits down the middle. Europe calls for peace, Russia and China see opportunity, and America stands at the edge of another endless war it swore it would never fight again. And yet, beneath the headlines and politics, there's something deeper at play: a clash of ideologies, pride, and survival instincts. This isn't just about nuclear weapons. It's about who controls the narrative of power in the 21st century. Will the world bend to deterrence, or will it learn, yet again, that unchecked escalation can light a fuse no one can put out? As tension rises, Iran claims it has already rebuilt part of the Natanz site, this time even deeper underground, daring anyone to try again. Israeli satellites confirm suspicious new construction, and U.S. analysts warn that the window to diplomacy is closing fast. The question isn't if another strike will come, it's when and from whom. So before you click away, think about this. Are we watching the start of another endless cycle, or the final chapter of an old rivalry that's been burning since 1979? If you want to know what happens next, how Iran plans to hit back, and whether the United States is secretly preparing for the unthinkable, click on the video on your screen right now. Because the next move in this shadow war might not be on a battlefield. It might already be unfolding behind closed doors.